So hello, welcome to another Renegade Inc. Talk show. We are here at Camp Kotok. I'm standing here with the founder, David Kotok. David, thank you very much for the invite to begin with.
Thank you for making the trip here in Maine. We had to get you a visa to get in here.
All the way from London.
That's it.
And you've done well on the scenery, let's be honest.
It took a lot of work to do this.
Quite a production designer.
It really was, yes. It was quite a set, isn't it?
Camp Kotok, the origins and the purpose. Just if you can sum it up for us.
People who think about the world, financial markets, economics, geopolitics, all sorts of interesting things come together. They have diverse opinions, and they share them, as you know, somewhat robustly sometimes.
There is feisty dialogue, let's put it that way. It's impassioned, a lot of this.
I think so, yes. Passions run deep. The arguments go on day after day. They solve the world's problems at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and with a little bit of wine late in the evening, too.
I like the poker nights. Last night it was interesting. We were watching the Republican debate, and in the middle of the Republican debate there was a poker match going on. They didn't give it a look.
I saw that myself. It was a bizarre scene. 40 people in the room, and in the middle there's this circle playing poker. And the rest are focused on Donald Trump making a fool of himself.
There's a lesson in that for everyone.
Yeah.
So when people do come here and they think about the world, why bring them so far out of their environment?
You know, it's an interesting thing, Ross. When we started this, we were just a very few people. And we were talking about how do you get out in the woods and talk about things, get away from distractions. After 9/11, this blossomed into a larger group. And we have a waiting list of people from all over the world. We are at capacity every year. I mean, there's only so many empty beds up here. And it happens, it has its own momentum. And then you think about these folks who have to fly 2 and 3 flights and come to this place, which is very remote. And they are used to staying in the Ritz-Carlton, and now they have to sleep in a room with somebody, and the guy next to them snores and all that kind of stuff.
And they're made to clean fish.
Oh, it's wild. It's a wild scene. But I think part of it is camping for adults. Instead of being a kid, you can come back and have an experience that you might have had when you were 10 years old, but do it as an adult with some very thoughtful people who are quite mixed.
Let's get to the global economy, because
Sure.
What's your view? We stand here, summer 2015, let's say. Where do you think next? And I know it's a hugely broad question, but where are you focusing?
I'm going to tell you what keeps me up at night,
Yes.
which is the real question that people ask. What keeps you up at night? In Europe, the interest rates are now negative rates. European Central Bank sets a negative interest rate. Sweden goes under. Denmark goes under, meaning more negative. Switzerland, more negative. So you have the second largest capital market monetary bloc in negative interest rates. In the United States, you have the beginning of restoration of normalcy. Very slow, but positive interest rates. That chasm is widening. I think that expands volatility. The jolts that are coming in the currency markets are going to be large. We've already seen them. We see effects on commodity prices. And we have no models, no guidance, no history. So we're writing the history books right now. I get up in the morning. I've been in this business half a century. And I wake up in the morning. I say, you have spent half a century preparing for this moment. Every single day you wake up and you're writing the book. 30 years from now, somebody will read about it. That's where we are in finance and economics in the globe today. It's very exciting.
The Fed has an announcement to make in September. Are they going to hike rates?
I think they are going to hike. They have a free shot. This is the most advertised Fed first hike you've ever seen. They had a free shot after the taper tantrum. The markets had adjusted the pricing and expectation. They were afraid they didn't take it. They have another free shot right now. Take it. If you have a free shot, take it. Even a basketball player understands that.
Let me give you a scenario. Let me ask you a question. After 2008, do you think that the American public in general deleveraged? Did they pay off their debt?
Some did, and some are now re-leveraging, but the system also tightened credit.
Right.
So did people voluntarily deleverage, or did the system force them to by tightening credit conditions? Some of each, and we don't know how much.
Private debt levels in the US at the moment are astronomical. They're huge historically. If the Fed raises rates, Does the private debt level mean that consumer spending stops and the economy nosedives again?
I don't know. There's a real puzzle about consumer spending now. We had an energy price shock that was positive. Everyone had a big expectation, I did too, that consumers would ramp up spending. They didn't do it. Now, why didn't they do it? Is the deleveraging issue still at work? Is the fact that you've had financial repression and very low earnings on savings at work? Because when you have financial repression, what do people do? They raise the savings. They save more because their earnings are less and they're afraid. So there's a combination of forces at work. I don't think we know. I think that means, my view is, the energy price stays suppressed. And when the consumer says, I'm going to begin to believe that this $40, $50 oil is going to be around for a while, gasoline prices are going to be down for a while, I'm going to change my behavior. When that happens, we'll get a little consumer pickup.
Lastly, when all these great minds sort of come here from Wall Street, from all over the country, right? When they've
You're being very kind with their great minds.
All right, when the minds that are here, when they leave here and they go back, what is your goal, if you like? You want them to interact with one another, obviously think a bit differently about the world. What's the ultimate goal?
Well, if they've had fun, and a bunch of folks come up here who know about each other, but have never met each other.
Right.
So they met each other, they exchange email addresses, the dialogue ratchets up. So if we convened a gathering, and we had some meaningful discussion and dialogue, people walk away and say, geez, I had a good time out in the woods, and I got to talk with people, and I feel a little bit more comfortable in the exchanges. We've had a successful gathering, then we'll figure out what we'll do next year.
Thank you very much for the invite. It's great.
Thanks for coming. Did you catch fish?
I caught my first fish yesterday. It was a smallmouth bass. Is that right?
Smallmouth bass, yes. Well, you need to get a second one today.
I'm on it.
You're in.
David,
Good.
Thank you.